This is the Adoption is Love podcast. Real stories from real birth moms who've lived it, loved through it, and grown stronger because of it.
I was looking for stability. I had already had 4 kids. I wanted to give him something that I knew I couldn't give him.
In today's episode, birth mom Nicole shares her adoption story, what life looked like when she found out she was pregnant, the hard choices she faced, and why choosing adoption became one of the most difficult but meaningful decisions she's ever made. Joining her is her former adoption specialist, now adoptive parent supervisor at Deaconess Pregnancy and Adoption, Catherine Cheek.
Welcome, Nicole, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Can you share with us a little about your life and circumstances when you found out about the pregnancy where you placed your son for adoption?
Yes, I think I was like 24, 23. I already have 4 kids, and I was working just kind of like odd jobs. And when I say odd jobs, I mean customer service, barely making over minimum wage, relying on my family for a lot of support. I just was not in a space to add to the chaos that I already had going on. I just knew that it was not a good deal. I decided to place my son, which was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in life, even still to this day. But it was one of the best decisions I made.
What led you to Deaconess Pregnancy and Adoption?
Well, actually, back in 2010, 2009, there were the infomercials that come on at night on TV. And I was laying in bed, pregnant, snacking, watching TV. And it would air like almost every night. And here it is, I'm laying there pregnant, not knowing what I was going to do. Like, I really had no plan. I did not know. I contemplated abortion, but keep in mind, I have 4 kids. That was not even financially feasible. Like, if I had $600 for an abortion or however much it costs, I needed to pay a bill, put food in the house. I could not see myself doing that. I actually did not even contact Deaconess until I was at the hospital. And I can remember speaking with my labor and delivery nurse and just telling her, like, hey, I want to place him for adoption. And she brought up Deaconess. And it was just like a wow moment. Like, oh my gosh, I've seen these commercials like every night. And It was just like, this has to be, I don't believe things in life are a coincidence. Like, I just know that that was God's work. You know, He did that. So she contacted Catherine, the nurse did, or she contacted the agency, and Catherine was at the hospital within 24 hours. Probably before that. I don't know. It was really quick, though. She came and she brought several profiles for me to pick from, like several. She told me to take my time, and I just went through all of the profiles, and I was reading about the different families, and I made a decision from there, and it was actually the hardest, but the best decision that I've made.
So in talking about Catherine, that's actually me. So I'm the one that came into your room at that time. What were some of the emotions as you're looking through those families? What were you looking for? What stood out?
There were so many emotions, but I was looking for stability. I had already had 4 kids. I wanted to give him something that I knew I couldn't give him. I wanted to choose a family that didn't have kids, who couldn't have children for whatever reason. So that narrowed it down because a lot of families already have kids and they're looking to expand their family. But I wanted him to be the only child because he was going to have a big family on the other side. And he could also experience some things that his siblings have still not gotten to experience. So that was important to me.
How did Deaconess support you through the hospital and through the placement of him?
I will say that Deaconess, they held the adoptive family accountable, like to the word, to what they promised me, even though there was no like court order or anything saying that it had to be like this or this. But everything that they told me, they followed through with it and made sure that the family followed through with it. And it made the process easy and trusting. They were just supportive, from counseling to my late night calls in the beginning where I'm just crying, and postpartum on up until the court date. And even after that, very supportive.
Yeah. So for listeners, in Oklahoma, moms do have to go to court in front of a judge for their consent. Other states are different. So just want to share that a little bit. But as you talked about keeping the family accountable just to the promises they made as far as visitation, pictures, updates.
All of that.
Yes. Continued that mediation for that.
Yes. I mean, I got pictures every month. I think they didn't live locally, but I think we did a visit like every 3 months. And that was to my liking because I didn't want visits so often where my presence was confusing. I wanted her to be able to bond with her baby, and I chose her. So I wanted her to know that I trust her and I chose her.
Since you already had 4 children, did any of them have a relationship with the son that you placed in the beginning?
I've always brought all the kids to every visit. I've always brought them. At first, they didn't know that was their brother. I think they thought that they were visiting my friend and her new baby. Because at first we started meeting at the agency and then we branched off and would go to lunch or the park or the zoo or like a fun setting for the kids. But eventually, I talked to my older 2 girls and I told them and they were like, oh my gosh, I know he just looks so much like our little brother. They were so excited. And I look back and I'm like, why was I even scared? They were so accepting. They were so excited.
So what kind of support system did you have from the time of placing and making your decision?
My kids and Catherine in the agency. That's it. I solely did this by myself. I shouldn't have. Because I know that my mom would have been supportive. My sister would have been supportive. But I went through it alone because I felt like that was something that I needed to deal with and something that I needed to feel. I wanted to be very in touch with all of my emotions. But with the support of Deaconess, it didn't feel like I was alone. I felt like I had someone. They have a retreat every year. And they used to host it like around Mother's Day. And I had my baby in February and Mother's Day was in May. And they invited me to the retreat. And I was just like, I gotta go. I need this. I need to be around like-minded people that have went through things similar. So I went to the retreat, met some amazing women that could relate to adoption. We all shared our stories. We played games. It was a very relaxing weekend. You get pampered, massages, all your snacks. It's just the perfect Mother's Day weekend. So you guys hosted that every year. And I've been to retreat probably 6 or 7 times. And my son is 15, so I hardly ever miss because I actually look forward to it even now. Just to be able to listen to other people's stories and to share my story with like-minded individuals.
Did you feel that you could call at any time and talk with someone?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's been times I've called 10 p.m. at night crying. Snotty in the beginning, postpartum and really not knowing or the fear of unknowing. Yes, I've always felt that I could reach out to the agency. And from what I've taken from some of the retreats, all of the ladies feel that way. They all feel connected in one way or another.
Well, thank you so much for joining our podcast today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Adoption is Love podcast, brought to you by Deaconess Pregnancy and Adoption. Life can be full of surprises, and we understand the unexpected. If you want to learn more about your options, visit adoptionis.love.